Okay, scones I'm going to be doing today. It's something that you'll possibly get to do in level 1 and you definitely do in level 2 because it's part of your course, is learning how to make a scone. A lot of people are scared of scones. Students come in and they say, oh, my scones never rise, and oh, I can't get them to do extra. There is no secret. The only thing that you have to do is work with them really lightly. I don't like handling them a lot at all. I always ask students not to use a rolling pin to roll them out, even though it does say to do that. It's the same as when you're kneading them a little bit, only lightly. Just keep everything nice and light. Ingredients, always sieved. I'm starting with cheese scone here, and I've sieved my self-raising flour twice. I always make students do that as well. Make sure you're sieving your flour, keep it nice, get your rise back in your flour. Okay, so I've got seasoning in here, I've got dry mustard in here, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in my margarine and I'm going to rub it in. Okay, so margarine in, it's cold, it's come out of the fridge. When you're rubbing, the way you want to be rubbing is thumb going across the fingers like this, not going away in, and really ideally what I always say to students is the flour really shouldn't go over your knuckles, and that's letting you know that you're working with it light and you're not going right in here really heavy and doing it really heavy. So I'm lifting it up, coming round, and I'm rubbing it in really lightly. Lifting it up as you go, take your hands right round the bowl and making sure you're rubbing all that margarine in, okay? Lifting as you go. You're wanting to get your margarine to go in here that it's resembling fine breadcrumbs. It doesn't take long to do at all. This is only a 4 batch cheese scones I'm doing here, and I'm actually just going to do a 4 batch of your fruit as well. But this is happening in real time, so you can see how quick that you can get this to resemble breadcrumbs. Okay. And you can see I'm just lightly rubbing it between my hands here to make sure that all that marge has gone in there, which it has. Okay, so you can see it's just a nice breadcrumb I've got here. Okay. Right. Next job here is I want to put probably more than halfway cheese in here, and the remaining cheese is going to go on the top once we glaze them. So I'm going to get some cheese in, leave a wee bit for top, give it a mix. Now when I mix, I like to use a knife. I've got an old-fashioned knife here, a nice flat blade on it, and that's the only thing I like to mix with. I don't like going in about with a spoon or anything, just a nice light mix before you start adding your liquid. Because if you put your liquid in there first, by the time you get that cheese all mixed in and through it all evenly, you're going to have over-mixed this by then, or just about. So I like to have it all mixed in first before you start thinking about adding your liquid. Okay, I've got my egg in here and a drop of milk. I think it's 2 tablespoons of milk that goes into this mix. Depending on day, depending on heat, depending on the flour, it depends how much you use with. Sometimes you'll not use it all, sometimes you'll use it all and a little bit more milk maybe, but what you are trying to get is a slightly wet mixture. If you have a really hard, solid, dry mix to start with, by the time it goes in the oven and it bakes for 10 to 12 minutes or whatever it's going to take to bake them, they're drying out all the time. So if you start dry, you're going to end up even drier. So nice and moist, but not too moist that you can't handle the mixture when you go to start padding it out or rolling it out, whatever is your preference. Okay, so I'm going to put a fair bit of it in. I'm only leaving a little drop in there. But what I always say to students as well is, you can't take out once you've put it in. Okay, and you can see I'm only doing a light mix here. Right, now I can see here with just a couple of mixes that this is going to take more, and probably a little bit of milk as well, okay? So I'll start with 1 tablespoon, and again, just nice and slowly around the bowl. Again, I would just try another wee bit. Yeah. The thing is, once you get to know a mix, a scone mix, you've cracked it. It's just getting to know your right amount of fluid to put in here to know how you're wanting that mix to look. Okay, you can see that's coming together here. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, take it off my knife. On here now, little drop of flour. Don't over flour, because if you over flour here when you're working with your mix, all you're doing is adding more flour and more flour to this mixture, and you're going to keep drying out your scone as you go. Okay, so taking the rest together with my hands again, really, really gently. Okay, just as much as you need to move that a bit to get all your mixture, your bowl relatively clean. Okay, so that's it. I'll let it boil, and all I'm going to do here is just a little bit, not a lot. Enough to make it come till a circle. Okay. And from that circle here, this is all I'm using, is this bit of my hand here, okay? And I'm just going to press it out gently. What I like to do as well with students is, I like them to know a difference of their scones, like they're from their savoury to their sweet. Okay, so for their savoury, all I ask them to do is to make around and then cut them. Okay, I've got about probably an inch, just over an inch here, okay, of scone. Okay, so I'm going to move this over here. Give my hands a wee wash. The other thing is, when I'm doing a savoury scone, not only do I want to keep it in a triangle, but I like a flour base as opposed to a grease-based base on it. For the fruit scone, I like to grease it so there's no flour on the bottom, but when I'm doing a savoury, it's just a personal preference. I do like a bit of floury dryness on the bottom of my scone. Okay, so give them plenty of space so that heat distribution is getting all around them when they're in the oven. And then you're going to baste them. A second, so I get my baster, my brush. Okay, so it's just a mix of milk and egg. And just try and keep it on the top. Don't be tempted to let it all run down the sides, because at the end of the day it's egg, and once the egg starts setting like a glue, it'll stop the rise of your scone. If it's all running down the sides, you won't get the same rise in your scone. Okay, so you can see how quick that is to make. The students make scones every week, each one of them taking turn about, because they're really popular in a cafe to go along with the soup at lunchtime. And they make all different ones. You can put spring onions in here, you can put mustard in them. Yeah, it's endless really for a savoury scone. You can put Branston in them and your cheese. So cheese on top. And that ones are ready for the oven.